So I want to introduce you to the next speaker. Dr. Alan Arnett is going to talk about cancer prevention. As I said earlier today, everybody in this room pretty much has cancer cells. They've done studies, people who have passed away, they've done autopsies of people with 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. Everybody has cancer cells. It's your immune system that's able to manage and prevent this from becoming a serious condition. But what is exciting today is that we really have a lot of opportunities to prevent cancer, and we know what are some of the inducers and promoters. And Dr. Alan Arnett, who does a lot of work in his clinic, helping and treating people with cancer, is going to talk about that. Please welcome Dr. Arnett.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. Well, it's good to be here. I've been in the natural healthcare industry for over 30 years. I'll progress. I've been in the natural healthcare industry for over 30 years, and I got in this because I was a kid of the hippies. And so this was the only healthcare that actually worked. And what was this healthcare? Not that. I mean, it was pretty easy. It's like what man has known, and what man has known has so much value. And sometimes we inadvertently throw the baby out with the bathwater. And to me, natural medicine is simply looking at how the body works and trying to work with that. In my application of medicine, I call myself an integrative practitioner. I do not think that pharmaceuticals are the enemy. I usually think the way they're utilized is the problem. Nevertheless, a little bit about me, functional medicine, nutrition. That's the modern term for holistic medicine. Licensed acupuncturist, 22 years. Several postgraduates in China studying in the hospitals of Beijing, Hangzhou, Shanghai. It's a very powerful medicine, and in many ways it's the original holistic medicine or functional approach to treating conditions. And I am a chiropractor, although I don't do that much adjusting anymore, but I definitely use my training from many years ago. 30 years of practice, and I love that, like McDonald's, over 100,000 patient visits given. All right, I call myself integrative, complementary, alternative. I'm always insulted by alternative. We're the original. You've just made that up, so we need a better marketing term. So I like integrative because that really does get to it. We stop making the patient the ping pong ball. Stop making it us versus them. That's really helpful, I think, in today's world as we progress forward. We need to stop making it that way and start talking about approaches. Because that's really what the difference is primarily, especially as the usage of pharmaceuticals and herbal medicines and nutritionals become more blended. It becomes less differential. 15 years of teaching yoga, that has relevance later in today's presentation, and 10 years of teaching meditation. Now, as an acupuncturist, I teach meditation because mostly I believe everyone's crazy. This isn't working. This is too formal for me. I was raised to be on stage, and this is much easier. Thank you. Everyone's crazy. You're not crazy, but the person next to you is. And what does crazy mean? The oldest statement in the book of what is crazy, 6,000 years ago. Crazy is believing your own thoughts without checking into the validity. So crazy isn't a genetic defect. Crazy is a way of mind. You can't make me mad. But when I say you make me mad, I get sick because I'm telling myself a lie. What I'm saying is that whatever you did, my filters responded with anger, but I didn't take responsibility for me. So I blamed you. Then I got sick as evidence that I'm not thinking right. This is 6,000 years old. It's very, very old stuff. Okay, 4 leading causes of cancer. Much of what I'm going to say to you on the factual level is repetitive. There's really nothing new on the prevention of cancer. There's only keeping you thinking about it. So 4 basic categories to keep it simple. I find that no matter how smart we are, that it's easy to forget stuff. Genetics, environment, lifestyle, and stress. These are the 4 basic categories. So if you contemplate it for just a brief moment, that means that stress is equal and, big. Environment's big, lifestyle's big. And what I want to go over is that genetics, which is frequently to the common person thought of as the cause of cancer. So therefore, there's not much you can do to prevent the cancer. So the only thing we can do is raise more money for pharmaceutical funding. That's the only option. Well, research says that it's only 5 to 10% due to genetics. We've known this for a long time. Most of you in this room tell your clients that. This is a terrific thing. I found this on PubMed, and the title is Cancer is a Preventable Disease. How often do you hear that in the advertisement? So the only thing you need to know today, because I'm trying to keep it simple, is it's the epigenetics that matter most, and they're simply the factors that flip your genetics on or off. So whether your genetics show you have this or that, your ability to influence your choices is the only thing you can do. And what all medicines have said prior to recent is that that's what you do, and that provides health. For sometimes people even live with cancers for 30 years in their body, 40 years, and pass away of something else. Cancer itself is sold to us as a fear-mongering disease because it's scary. And if you've been around anyone who's at the edge or has gone through, and please let me be respectful to that moment, my father right now is battling leukemia, a very aggressive, acute myeloid leukemia, and he's 75, so he's in that bracket where the textbook says, get your will ready. So it can be very scary, and so if I'm here for anything, it's to try to help people prevent from getting to that edge. And so the main thing here is that genetics, it's what you turn on and what you turn off. So the rest of today's presentation, short presentation, is on what you can affect, because that gives us power. The environment, which includes now our awareness of the globe, not just our local environment. Right now we're in a lovely hotel room. Most of us got here in a car that probably was okay, nice. Hopefully your Uber was nice. But the environment, we now know, senses back. It's not just something that's us versus them outside of me. The environment is part of us. The ancient yogis had a beautiful phrase. They said, if my breath feeds the trees, and the trees then feed my breath, are the trees not the external lung? So how could I chop that down and expect to live? I don't know, that's probably 12,000 years old. That's just basic awareness. But this image here, which I thought was nice and lovely, and assuming you guys have had facts and data up the yin-yang, try to bring in something to break up the monotony of your brain today. It's sensing back. It's sensing back. So simple things, it's in the chemicals, it's in the radiation, and we can also get viruses and bacteria. There's whole books, there's whole careers, there's whole YouTube webinars on every one of these things. But what do you need to know that I'm emphasizing at least today is that it's do as much as you can to create your shields and then strengthen you. That's my message. Strengthen you for knowledge, strengthen you through nutrition, strengthen you through lifestyle, strengthen you through mind, because that in most cases is more powerful than simply and only focusing on cleaning up things. So here's the big one. It even looks like a childhood wall. Maybe a third grader might have drawn this, right? Lifestyle. It's always sold to us if it's somehow less than. The pharmaceutical ads make it dressed up and look like it's special. And then when it gets to lifestyle, it's like you've stepped up into the Brady Bunch or something. So is there some marketing going weird to try to say that this is not as powerful? After 30 years of medicine and coming from the hippies, I'll say emphatically yes. Emphatically yes. So my father got diagnosed with leukemia. I immediately turn on Dr. Arnett. He's scared blankless. He's in Texas. I'm going to follow what the doctor says. I say, at least eat better. I'm going to shorten this. He goes to the oncologist. The oncologist says to him, sir, your cancer is not caused by food, so you can go eat anything you want. My father says, my son said I shouldn't drink alcohol and eat red meat when I have inflammation in my blood. And he says, have some scotch. This is Texas. Beef will be good for you. We want you to be hardy for the chemo ahead. Now, I'm not here to put the oncologist down. What I'm here to say is that it is a flip of the mind. It's true, is it not? Food did not cause directly the leukemia. So does that mean it's off the table and relegated to the third grader's wall? My father spent 2 weeks on chemotherapy, to which I got calls wishing me, begging me to come home to try to help him survive. And it was through everything that we do that made his body strong enough to endure the chemo so that it could be an integrative win. So to think that food isn't equal in cancer is a bit silly. I come here as a clinician. I'm not a researcher. I'm telling you 30 years of working with people in the clinic, what I see. Here's your answers. And some of you need more of this, and some of you need more of that, and some of you need more of that. You know, you're all individual. A little pet subject of mine, which we'll get to in a moment, this says play sports. Many people would emphasize that, oh, exercise. It says play, don't be competitive. Try to let your shoulders relax a little bit. Try to let your jaw soften just a touch. This is very common in this room. Most of you probably could recite this as if it was the national anthem. But it is important to remember that even the most basic foods are, quote, anti-cancer. And there's good research on this kind of stuff. But I'm not here for that. Have to do a little plug on me, in case you're up in Long Beach. Acupuncture's killer. Herbs actually kill cancer. Go to China. They've been dealing with this for over 2,000 years. It's not new to them. They have a different language. They have a lot to offer. And even in the lifestyle, even in the management of the cases. And we even know that acupuncture particularly is trick when you're going through the Western process, particularly trick. This is what I want to spend the day on. This is the most commonly agreed upon, oh yes, stress is a cause of any disease. And yet I also find when I watch groups, everyone go, oh, yeah, I'm stressed too. I'm stressed too. So what? So if I came to you and I said that I have found a new molecule that you could take in a pill that only costs $300,000 a pill, but it could give you a 20% chance of reducing cancer, there would be people who would purchase that. But if I said to you, by reducing your stress, you have a minimum of 25%, probably more, people go, oh no, I'm stressed too. Let's go have a drink. Stress to me, as the practitioner in the trenches, is the most underserved part of this, because the way people think they want to de-stress is to get their way. They think that by getting their way, eating at the restaurant they like, getting the reservations on time when they like, getting the clothes that they like, getting the hotel room that they like, this is what people think is de-stressing. And places like this, which I like, actually promote that. They go out of their way to make sure that that part of you is amended to. But that does not decrease your neural tone. That does not decrease at all the stress responders on your adrenal glands 1 second. In fact, I'll propose it makes them worse. Because every time you get your way, especially if you're being a brat, then that reinforces that bratty behavior gets your way. Then you're more likely to create stress inside, biochemical stress where it matters. The stressing on the surface that you get airtime for doesn't matter. The person who's perfect on the outside and meditates every day doesn't matter. What matters is simply the relationship of you and your nervous system and how you are turning on or off things in your body. It's that simple. There are lots of techniques. Please come to me. I love to charge you some money and do some techniques, but ultimately at the end of the day, because it's Saturday and I'm done with work, I'm going to tell you this is where your little map should be. Now, let's find every one of you in this room can relate to one of these, and if you can't find any, then the person that you know has some. Let's start with muscle tension, very common. Here, this is referring to the tension that's left over when you think you're relaxed. So if you close your eyes for a second, took a few breaths, and then I walked up and started squeezing your muscles, would I find tension there? In most human beings, yes, and particularly in type A, I get stuff done, accomplisher, CEO, business owner type, right? Because that job never turns off. So muscle tension is not just a sign of stress, it actually absorbs energy and keeps energy being wasted while you're asleep. That's why the bones underneath start to degenerate. So grinding teeth, this is definitely not a lack of dental visits. And dentists can be excellent at treating parts of this, but this, as I'm speaking, is your nerves and the way you think about your opinions. What you hold necessary to make you happy to go to sleep or not. And that is an individual thing. Apathy is the film that grows over when you're overwhelmed. It's like a slime mold of the emotions. And the problem with apathy is that it comes on nice and slow, so you don't know it's growing. Trouble concentrating, that could be a lot of things, quite frankly, but it can be due to stress, of course. And I like that headaches is a fire sign, because these kind of headaches are like a firestorm. This is why caffeine frequently is bad for type A people, because they already have a big tendency to get their energy mobilized upward to think and take action. And if they juice that with caffeine and sugar, they're simply going to burn their nerves. And you can't buy your way out of that. Even laying at the Ritz-Carlton, pain is pain. Anxiety here, we're not talking about the person who's anxious, we're talking about what happens when your nerves get overused. When your nerves get used so much that the bandwidth now has injured the conduit upon which it travels. That's a kind of anxiety. This is a lot what males frequently come in with because they take action late on things, is that the nerves are starting to rot from overusage. These are signs of stress, and there's no test for it. Anger, look, they have a bomb. I love that. Because some anger, when fueled in the right way, makes stuff happen. There's no one in this room who hasn't used anger to get their way. Maybe at a car deal, maybe at the hotel desk, at the restaurant, for a job, spouse, whatever. We can talk our way and bullhead our way into many things. But that doesn't mean that our liver's happy. It doesn't mean our gallbladder can approve of that behavior or not. And so it is a time bomb of this repressed anger, anger that we can't let go of, or anger that we don't identify with as anger. So these are the stresses that start to turn on the molecules and the molecular signals inside that your body says, I think we're done here. Stomach problems, of course, that's pretty classic. Fatigue, decreased sex drive. I've always said that a man can only have his energy in one head or the other. So skin irritations, that's very common. I came to this when I was a child because I was covered head to toe in psoriasis. I found my way through that with chiropractic and nutrition. So these are the most common things that everyone thinks of with anti-cancer. So I'm supposed to stand up here and say these kind of doldrum mantras, but I'm going to say to you that most of those are simply due to stress. Arguably, smoking is a stress response. Yes, there's the occasional cigar relaxed on the boat with a scotch. I appreciate that, but by statistics, that's not very common. Certainly, obesity and overweight tend to be from stress eating, emotional eating, not understanding yourself, perpetual inner dialogue. Cancer-causing pathogens can come from promiscuous behavior, not cleanly behavior, because your mind's cray-cray. Physical inactivity, where you're actually believing it's better to watch the Netflix series than to get out there and walk. The diet, look, it's pink, it's full of food coloring. Oh, that's more interesting. Yeah. I'll take the pink one, please. I was talking to a patient today who needed a Benadryl. I said, get the clear. Why do I take the clear? Because that pink has food coloring and you're taking it for an allergy. I never thought about that. Why did they put the food coloring there? For you. Ultraviolet light, I'm not so sure that this one is one I would promote a lot. I have a lot to say on that one. Here's the most interesting thing about cancer prevention I've found. We will take action on it proportional to our ability to feel it's going to make a difference. And if we don't feel it's going to make a difference, we do not change a lick. So in the Stop Smoking campaigns, the only two campaigns that have ever shown a measurable decrease in stopping smoking or cutting down on cigarettes purchased, none of them with the sad lady with the tracheotomy smoking out of her tube. That just makes people want to smoke more. What decreased cigarette usage by teenage females for 6 weeks was a sign or an ad campaign of a beautiful model who said smoking makes you ugly. Instantly dropped cigarette sales for 6 weeks till they lost track in their short attention span and their food color-driven allergies took them back. In the male side, it was a Marlboro man whose cigarette was down. And that stopped for about 6 weeks till they found the Viagra ad and continued smoking. So I propose to you that stress is the most underutilized thing. We are, however, ducklings in this world, and we are being propelled by life forward to the wall of fear, whether that fear is life or death, speaking in front of the public, whether that's a cancer diagnosis, whether it's admitting that you were wrong, actually, yes, it was you. Whatever it is, life propels us forward, and if we know that we are ducks and meant for the water, we'll jump away into it. and not tumble down. Because life is moving us forward. We have no choice here. This isn't like, oh, I like that. I agree with that. And let's go out and have our cigarettes and coffee. Thank you. No. When are you going to do it? As the clinician, I will tell you in the trenches, it's the people who are doing the actions that get the benefit. So here we go. The oldest philosophical symbol, well, one of the oldest philosophical symbols that reminds us that two opposing energies are necessary to create a whole. If they collapse into one, it dies. That's why getting your way is not always a good thing. The seed of black is in white, the seed of white is in black, the seed of bad is in good, the seed of good is in bad, the seed of health is in death, the seed of death is in health. People who think I don't want to be healthy because I'm going to die, really it's a deep psych job. They really believe a lot of marketing. I'd love to sell them some property. They'll believe anything. Because your gut tells you one thing. Just because you're going to die doesn't mean that this moment isn't worth it. So why don't we let go of the mask of our personality? It's ephemeral anyway. It's just pure energy. It doesn't mean anything. What you think you are is a big bunch of temporary. For the drop of your consciousness and the seed of your experience, when calm, brings about enormous benefits. Because in your nervous system, it is the electrical activity that determines ultimately why stress does or does not turn on cancer cells. For it is our ability to see past the physical and into something astral that makes a temporary life worth living. So I'd like you all to sit back and close your eyes. I have video notes of what I'm about to take you through, then I have a flyer to hand you, please, so that you can get hold of this. Put both feet on the floor. With everyone's eyes closed for a brief moment, then you can remove any clothing that's really binding your legs or a bra. Just loosen it up a little bit, just a bit. And at first, just let your head or shoulders roll if you like. I mean, you've been sitting still. That has its own form of tension. And now I'd like you to come halfway forward in your seat, bringing your feet also forward slightly wider. You can blink your eyes open while you do this just to move forward, put your hands in your lap, up or down, and then reclose your eyes. Make sure your feet are comfortably on the floor. And just let the breath start to move in and out of the nose, letting the chest expand and contract in its natural ebb and flow of life. It is in this moment that your nervous system is saying thank you. So with the eyes closed now, I'm going to take you through a very simple little stress-relieving moment. Physically let your head start to move forward and your mid-back push back, making an arc of the spine. You can use your hands pressing into your thighs to give a little information into your mid-back, like a cat shape if you know yoga. And all we're going to do is oppose that now by bringing our chest forward and stretching the front and contracting the back, opening the front of the neck. We're going to do this several times. As an exhale, pull the belly in and round the spine, letting the head fall forward. And the inhale brings the chest forward, opening the chest. Don't worry about the breath. Feel more about the spine. And then curl, feeling the belly drawing in, pressing the hips down. Inhale opens the chest forward, the back contracts. Let's enjoy 2 more. Exhale. Feeling the middle of the spine doing the motion. The inhale opens and lifts the collarbones. Last cycle, exhale. Rounding, letting the heads go all the way down. Inhale, opening up. And then resting in a neutral spot, hands up or down in your lap. And then push yourself into the seat again, please. Just sitting back, take a moment to roll the shoulder blades. Palms still up or down in the lap, eyes closed. Follow my voice, please. Exhale through your nose. And through the nose, inhale, 3, 2, 1. Pause and hold, and then exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3. Big ribs, 2. Big ribs, 1. Pause. Exhale, 4, 3, 2. Use your belly here. 1. 3 more cycles. Smooth inhale, 3. Pause at the top. Relax your facial tension and exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. And inhale. Feel the chest get bigger at the very top. Hold, but relax your eyes inside and then soften. Exhale. All the way out. A little more breath. Last cycle, inhale. Nice and big. This time I'm going to ask you to hold the breath for 6, 5, 4. Relax your jaw. 3. Soften your shoulders. Smooth exhale. Slow, slow, slow. Letting your upper body fold, bring your elbows onto your knees and let the back of your spine just drape forward, letting the head drape forward. Keep your left elbow on your knee and take your chest to the right, putting your right hand on your thigh and just a simple twist, moving your torso to the side. Coming back to a neutral position, and then you got it. You can take it the other way. It's about just releasing energy. Let's take it one more time each side. The breath can enter the pose if you like, expanding the ribs. Let this rotation help, and the exhale brings you to neutral. The breath fulfills even the toes. Exhaling back to neutral. Let your hands go all the way down to your ankles and just schlumpy, 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 schlumpy. Shake your head slowly, waggle the head side to side. Pressing your heels down, slowly inhale and roll the spine up. Shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders, palms up or down. Eyes remain closed. And now I'd like you just to ask yourself, how are you feeling? In some cases you feel relief, and in some cases you become more aware of tension. Your headache either just got better or worse. Last thing we're going to do is take the ever so bold 60 seconds of silence. Don't worry, I will watch the time, but I'm a yogi. I tend to count slow. So as you get yourself comfortable, if you have a meditation mantra, this would be an excellent time. If you have another method you would like, otherwise we will sit silently and listen to our breath for 60 seconds. Slowly begin to draw breath into your chest and begin to wiggle your fingertips and your toe tips. And take your arms and reach them up to the sky and extend your feet out and just give a little playful kind of silently say, thank you, body, for enduring this position for as long as you have. Thank you, stomach, for putting up with me. And then as you come back down, let your eyes blink open. The last cute thing, I'm going to have to set this down. Tappy tap. Lightly. This isn't EMF. We're not doing therapy. This is just coming. I learned this in Hangzhou, around the weeping willows, around the lakes. And it just releases nervous tension from people who think, I assume you think, people who think that means dull people don't need this. Keep going. Feel the back, feel the back. Take a deep breath in, exhale, let the hands relax. Welcome back. So I have, because we're all here, little marketers here, I have video notes of that for you, and that's half of the little sequence done in the chair. Other than reaching your arms up, this is all something you could do at work, in a airplane. These are things that are important for you to have access to. And I do have this under lock and key with password. So that's what I have to give you as the lock and key password to my website. I promise you, you will not be sold to any ads or anything like that. But I do have a beautiful place on my patio where I filmed this with these lovely jacarandas in the background. And I think that you would love it. And you can listen to my voice, and you can, like, once you've seen it, you don't need to see much, and you can just do it. So this is my gift for everyone today. So I'm going to start this out. My IT guy put this all together, and he said, is your audience over 50? I said, well, it's about cancer. It could be. He goes, then I better give them step-by-step instructions. And so there are step-by-step little screenshots. That's why it's a whole sheet. I think it's kind of cute. So then the last little bit of this. In summary, cancer prevention is the stuff that we used to just call living. Cancer comes from just crap in the air or crap in the food or crappy thoughts, man. What we just went through, as nice as it is what if you did that 3 times a day, and every time you went to the bathroom and sat and had a poo, you did that? I can promise you there'd be less medical visits as you got older. A big thing is perpetual pressure that just builds up and rots tissue inside. Hernias and diverticulitis, oh my. So please come use this. This is from my heart to yours. There's no charge. Come use it, share it. I don't care. Let people know. They'll just need the password to go in. And it's just a little video note. You just turn it on. You could put it on your iPhone. I just talk you through it. It's actually 15 minutes and 30 seconds. So it's really designed specifically for these kinds of moments. I teach yoga 3 nights a week. Come, I'll teach you. You want to do that big stuff? Fine. Handstands, forearm balance, crazy. It's kind of fun. So what is anti-cancer? I don't know. My father is maybe dying right now as we speak. But aren't we all? So I'm going to close with there are 2 things that I have learned from my Eastern visits. One of them is a phrase from India that I think is the most beautiful phrase I've ever heard in my life. Might even bring a tear to my eye. And it just says, if on the path of my life I have met you, my life has been worthwhile. Wow. And the last one is a little image, the Tibetan mandalas, to practice the art of giving, loving, diving into it, giving your all, and then blowing it away, is the practice of the mandala. In America, that's called Broadway. I was trained as a hoofer and a dancer and a singer to give my all for a momentary flash in life, that was the highest ideal I could achieve. It still is, for we're all going one day, whether from cancer or something else. Has it been important to meet people along the way? Let's find our way through some stress reduction. Let's enjoy our meditations, our yogas, have good food, because one day we do go, but not until then. I'm Dr. Alan Arnett in Long Beach, California. Thank you very much, everybody.